Oh, have you started?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Gary Ray Smith, the Knitting Man. This is episode 14 of the Knitting Man podcast. In this episode, we've got I'm going to do some sock darning, and as well as that, we're going to the Great Wool Weekend in Devon. Hello, welcome back. You might have noticed this week I'm knitting. The reason is since I started the YouTube channel, I've hardly got any knitting done at all. In actual fact, I think, the last few weeks, I'm having a little moan here, aren't I? I'm having a little rant, Joe. I'm not complaining. It's just been, busy since we started the YouTube channel. So I've decided to sort of do it as and when I can. So I'm back on my off-piste vest. I'd like to big up some of the people that are working on some of my projects at the moment, but I'll probably do that next week. I'll probably line that all up and do it next week. But if you're following me on Instagram, as and when I can, I'm putting them on there. In this week's episode, we go to the Great Wool Weekend, which is at RHS Royal Horticultural Society, Torrington in Devon. So we went there with Arthur and sorry, I've just wrong stitch there. We went there with Arthur on Sunday and we recorded that. So I think we've got that in two parts because it's quite long. And then in between we've got sock darning with me. So this week Mrs. Smith decided to get her own back. So Joe was slightly put out that I left a clip of her in, and because she wasn't aware that she was being filmed. And so this week she's decided to get her own back, and she's created this little clip for when I waffle on too much. She's going to implant this clip, and it's a little clip with our granddaughter Vera, and I'll go to that clip now.
Give it a rest.
So there you go, that is my granddaughter Vera, and she's saying, "Grandad, give it a rest." And Mrs. Smith's intention is to plant that clip anywhere where she thinks I'm waffling on too much. So look out for that later on in this episode. See if she decides to put it in. The other things that have been going on this week is not a lot really, because it's only Monday after we put an episode out on Friday, and so I did buy a couple of bits at the weekend. They seem to have gone astray, Joe. I bought some stitch counters, and I bought a couple more needle sizes. One of my terrible things, that's a needle size, and this one's a lovely, the Fairfax knitting pin and wire gauge. It goes down to really tiny little sizes there for lace, I suppose. 26, the smallest, and it's brass as well, so it's nice. You could actually wear that around your neck if you wanted to. And what else did I buy? Oh, I bought these. These were just in a charity shop. Double-ended stitch holders, clover ones. So yeah, that was it really. And while I was at the yarn show, I was given some yarn. I didn't actually buy any yarn. I didn't buy anything at the yarn show at all. So I'll show you that after you've seen a clip of the Great Wool Weekend. Yeah, so that's the first clip, and then later on in this episode we've got a second clip of the Great Wool Weekend. So there's some longer little clips in there of a couple of my local yarn dyers. There's Caroline from Gorgeous Yarns, and there is Steph from Perrin Yarns. And whilst I was there, Steph gave me some yarn, which is, oh, what's dropped on the floor, Joe? Something. And it's Devonia DK that she's dyed, and she said, I wonder if you can do anything with that. Well, I will be able to definitely do something with that. So it's DK, which is, I've got a project in my head for DK, which is going to be a big feral blanket. So I think that yarn there is going to go towards that. So that's the only thing that I actually picked up at the festival. I didn't buy anything. I was good. So we went in, first of all, we went in and we had a look around all of the exhibitors there. And then afterwards, there was an Easter egg trail. So after Arthur wanted to go around and spot all the Easter eggs, so we did that, and then we had spotted lunch, and then in the afternoon we went back to look at all the yarn and talk to all the people there again. So now we're going to go to a clip where I am darning socks. Okay, so generally I use quite a fibrous yarn. This is, I bought a lot. I went to Unravel Festival, and that would have been in 2017 or 18, and I bought a load of these different colours. They're actually a rug wool, but they're quite soft, and I did intend to use them in knitting, and I have used them in knitting. But these are pretty much my go-to because they're nice and fibrous, so they felt well, which is what I'm trying to do when I do my darning. And I'm just picking up one here, which is, you know, you can see there, Joe, if you get a close-up, that it's all matted together and felted lovely. And so, you know, even if I get a hole, and I haven't got many holes because I usually do. During the sort of dark winter months, I tend to do quite a lot of darning because it's what I like to do in front of the TV. But the problem I have a lot of the time, and I've mentioned this before, is that Mrs. Smith does like mood lighting and she doesn't like bright light. So I'm usually doing it sort of by candlelight or something. But as you can see here, there are holes starting to appear. I'm usually quite preemptive with it, so I generally try to hit them before it gets too bad. Anyway, I'm going to start having a little darn now. So really, to go around that, I usually start on the outside of it. So I try to fix to something that's half decent. So I generally use a darning mushroom, and I've got quite a collection of darning mushrooms, or a darning egg, but I think you can just use a tin or something ceramic or whatever. I could probably use one of these tins, really. Probably something with a curve would be better, like, you know, an egg cup or something. I don't know, but yeah, I could probably use that if I wanted to, but obviously these are the right tools. But if you look in charity shops, you can pick them up generally for about £1 or something. So yeah, first of all, I'm going to sort of go around the outside. So, and I don't try to emulate the stitch of the, and I'm not trying to do crisscross necessarily. I'm just quite haphazard really when I do darning. There's no particular, I'm all over the place with it. But I've been darning for a long time, probably since my student days. Well, I know since my student days, because I've got a pair of jeans which I'll get out at some point and show you all. A pair of jeans that I was darning in the early 80s. So I'm just weaving it through, but I'm just going around. I mean, to me that area looks a little bit, it's not threadbare, but it's starting to get there. So at the moment there's no rhyme or reason to how I'm stitching it, so I'm just at the moment just defining the outline, the area that I'm going to darn. And you notice I didn't tie it in, I just left the end there. So that's the square that I'm darning. And I like to pick up a different colour, so every time I do a bit of darning I might just darn over that bit there. It's not tidy really, my darning. But I like it to be nice and visible. And these socks are about, oh, I don't know, 8 to 10 years old maybe. So it does keep them going. Probably doing this quicker than I normally do it in the darkness. If you can hear something in the background that sounds like crisp packets, that'll be Arthur. We're looking after Arthur today. And he was with us at, over the Great Wall weekend as well. Actually come out a fair bit further. I'm not fussy about it at all. It's more about function than how it looks for me, really. Obviously, the time that I put into this, I could probably work an extra half an hour and buy myself a new pair of socks, or 3 new pairs of socks. It's not a financially rewarding thing. It's just I would like to think that I would not need to. Arthur, so we stopped there for a minute while Arthur got some sweet. Okay. So I'm just going around in a square. I don't always, because sometimes I go straight back down there. So I'd go, because there are holes there, tiny little holes. So I go straight back down there and then back round that way in a square. But I don't always go in a square. Sometimes I sort of go round in a circle, just like a spiral. But it's not hard to do. It's very easy to do. I think I was saying that I'd really like my socks to last me now till my life ends, you know.
It's cheery.
That's nice and cheery, yeah, I know, but I don't need to buy, I don't want to buy any socks. So I'm just, you know, I didn't knit these socks, by the way. They were bought socks. I don't knit socks anymore. Last time I think I knitted any socks was like in the 80s. It's probably just because I like people to see my knitting, so I quite like people seeing my darning, really. So it's getting there. And the felting process really helps as well. So, you know, when you wear them and wash them and it all felts together, you know, it becomes part of the fabric properly. So right, can you see it okay, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going over the worst bits really at the moment. It's just sort of this area really. And I love it, I love darning. I quite like the when I get moth holes in things, it doesn't bother me at all because I like to see it as an opportunity. And my brother-in-law recently had a scarf that had a moth attack, and I was like, oh, what an opportunity, how lovely, you could do something really useful with that, really lovely. So I might see if I can grab that before he puts it in the bin or something, and get it darned for him, so he's got some nice visible darning on it.
Give it a rest.
So really it's not too bad there, we're pretty much there. I'm just going over, it's this bit there that's got the tiny little holes, so let's just give that a bit more. I do buy vintage sock darning yarn quite a bit, but it's always like boring colours, so it's like grey and black and beige, so I tend not to use it. I just like the packets. But with this yarn, it was a really good stall actually at Unravel, and that I bought this yarn from, and she had lots of sort of vintage stuff as well as the huge boxes and boxes of this old rug yarn that well, it wasn't old, it was new, but I bought loads of it. It was like 50p a ball, and obviously at a yarn festival it's like the cheapest yarn there, but I love it, and all the bright colours and everything. I was buying loads of it. And Unravel's a really good festival if you've not been there. It's one of my favourites. I think they're doing one, somebody was saying that they're doing one again, they're doing another festival in the autumn this year, so I might try and get to that one, seeing as we missed Unravel at is it February or March, something like that. It's early in the year anyway. But yeah, the autumn one, I think I might look that up and see if we can get there. think it's in Surrey, people, if you want to look it up. So just outside London, just south of London. Might be wrong, but I know it's just off the M25 south of London. I'm pretty happy with that. And there's no areas that are, you know, high or anything, you know. So what I'll do is I'll just use the rest of that up, just go around the outside a bit, just use the rest of that yarn that I've got on my needle up a bit. And I don't tie a knot in it, I'll just keep going until I run out of, you know, every little helps. I keep wanting to move the sock nearer to me as I'm working on it, and Joe keeps telling me to move it back into the centre of the table, back into the light a bit. Might as well keep filming until I finish the yarn. Joe, what do you think? Or are you getting near the end of your... I think Joe likes to sort of stick to 5-minute clips. Otherwise her phone that she's filming on decides to lose the whole thing. This happens quite a lot. We film stuff, and because we go over 5 minutes, it's like crashes the phone, so we have to start again. Oh, get there in a minute. Am I getting near to the 5, Joe? Gone over. Okay, in that case I will just, what I'll do is I'll just tie it off. So then what I do is I just, there's a little bit there, and then I'll just send that through to the inside, and that's it really. Grab the inside of the needle on the inside, pull it through, and just leave that end on the inside. Just show you quickly. There he is. Just leave him.
Oh. Hang on, carry on.
And there you can see where it's all sort of matted together, but yeah, so just leave that there and that's fine, and that's it, done. I might do another one in a minute. I don't know if you're going to film that one, but there you are, no hole. So that was me sock darning, and I'm still knitting this, and now we're going to go to part 2 of the Great Wool Weekend. That's it for today. Please subscribe if you don't subscribe already, and please like this video because it gives us a little impetus to carry on making these videos. So next time we're going to have a big Q&A because there's lots of your comments that I haven't caught up with this week because we've been busy. So we'll catch up with those next week. I don't know what else we're going to be doing next week, but I'll see you then. So it's good night from me and it's good night from her.